A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 7, verses 36 to 50. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. One of the Pharisees asked him for over a meal. He went to the Pharisee's house and sat down at the dinner table. Just then, a woman of the village, the town harlot, having learned that Jesus was a guest in the home of the Pharisee, came with a bottle of very expensive perfume and stood at his feet, weeping, raining tears on his feet. Letting down her hair, she dried his feet, kissed them, and anointed them with the perfume. When the Pharisee who invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man was a prophet, I thought he was, he would have known what kind of woman is this who is falling all over him." Jesus said to him, "Simon, I have something to tell you." "Oh, tell me." Two men were in debt to a banker. One owed 500 silver pieces, the other 50. Neither of them could pay up. And so the banker cancelled both debts. Which of the two would be more grateful? Simon answered, "I suppose the one who was forgiven the most." "That's right," Jesus said. Then turning to the woman, but speaking to Simon, he said, "Do you see this woman? I came to your home. You provided no water for my feet, but she rained tears on my feet and dried them with her hair. You gave me no greeting, but from the time I arrived, she hasn't quit kissing my feet. You provided nothing for freshening up, but she has smoothed my feet with perfume." Impressive, isn't it? She was forgiven many, many sins, and so she is very, very grateful. If the forgiveness is minimal, the gratitude is minimal. Then he spoke to her, "I forgive your sins." That set the dinner guests talking behind his back. Who does he think he is, forgiving sins? He ignored them and said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 7, verses 36 to 50. Today's Gospel is set in the background of a meal. Every meal that Jesus shared says something to us about the Christian community. His Last Supper, for example, was one of the many. The word Pharisee means separated one. As the name suggested, they were separated with the authority to teach in the meeting places. Jesus is in the house of a Pharisee by name Simon. It's a story found only in Luke. Could Jesus be so rude to tell Simon the Pharisee who invited him for the meal that he was not a good host and that he was not polite enough? Could a woman of bad reputation have easily walked into the house of a Pharisee without being stopped on the way? Such questions will help us to look beyond what is given in the passage of the Gospel. Luke must have been giving his community a lesson on humility, love, and forgiveness. Be humble in service to obtain forgiveness. The speciality of this meal was that here is someone who would normally have been stopped at the door of the house, became the principal guest. The woman comes to the meal with some precious gifts to offer to her master. It was a meal of giving something precious of oneself. Her tears were external signs of her real self. Every Eucharist is a meal with Jesus. In spite of our unworthiness to dine with Jesus, no one will stop us at the door. Rather, we are welcomed to the table of the Lord. At the table, we are all equal in dignity as children of God. The woman gave of herself from her heart, and Jesus saw her heart. So he turns to Simon, his host, and says, "She has loved much." As we gather around the table of the Lord, will Jesus say the same about each of us? He loved much. She loved much. We bring gifts of our hearts at Mass. The Gospel passage brings us so much comfort to our burdened hearts. It invites us to go to the table of the Lord with all the burden of sin and pour out our heart's miseries before Him. And Jesus gives from His overflowing heart forgiveness and healing. There is only one condition recommended for obtaining His forgiveness: love. Whoever loves little, little is forgiven. Greater the love, greater the forgiveness. As much love for our brothers and sisters is so much love for God. As the woman left the table better than she came in, and so we too leave the Mass better than we came in.